All right, welcome to the D-Suite Nation. We got a couple returning guests today. Big Judson Anderson here. We call him Trey, where we come from. Everybody's All-American. And then we got a guy that needs no introduction. The great Jay Greene is back from East Lansing. And today we're going to talk a little college basketball, which I don't think we've done yet. Dan?
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of the greatest college basketball performers of all time, where they rank, or not really where they rank, but just bringing up great players, talking about them.
Yeah, just players in general, not really a competition thing. We're not really doing the bracket thing or nothing like that. We're just going to bring up some names and, some good memories I'm sure will pop up. And, this is something I was really looking forward to. So do you have a list in front of you or?
I have a few names of that I picked out, but.
Okay, who you got?
Well, I mean, you guys want to start?
I want to hear what you got.
My names are going to be the obvious names. They're going to be
fine.
the obvious names, right?
That's fine.
I mean, you can't say greatest college basketball player without saying Lou Alcindor, right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right?
Probably.
We've got to ask Judd that. Is that
that's my number
a fair
one.
assessment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even think you can. He's in a class by himself, so he don't even count in the discussion.
Right. Yeah,
I agree.
three-time NCAA champ, 3-time Final Four most outstanding player, 2-time Player of the Year. Scored 56 points in his college debut.
Yeah.
Career 26-15 guy. 47-game win streak.
Yeah, which was snapped by
47.
Elvin Hayes' Houston Cougars at the Houston Astrodome.
Didn't he only lose like one game?
I think he only lost one game. That was the one game that he lost. That was a regular season game, yeah.
And he was injured that game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he had an eye injury. He had an eye injury.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And back then,
he was
One
injured.
game. Wow.
they didn't allow freshmen to play. So now they said when he played on the because I used to have a Kareem Greatest Sports Legends VHS tape. They said when he played on the JVs on the freshman team, they used to smoke the varsity. And the varsity that was winning national titles, because they was winning before Alcindor got there. There was no answer for Kareem. The sky hook, he'd dunk on everybody. Yeah, he was the best. So, yeah, like Jay said, he really don't count. When it's that obvious, it don't count.
Yeah, he in a class by himself.
Yeah.
And while we own him, I want to say, because y'all was debating about LeBron and Jordan, I don't think Kareem get mentioned enough when they talk about best players ever.
We was talking about that yesterday.
I seriously don't. For when you think about what he's accomplished, like he didn't have the scoring title for about 30 years
With no threes.
Yeah.
with
At
no
all.
threes.
Yeah.
You're right.
6 MVPs. You know somebody that thinks Kareem is the GOAT, don't you, Jed?
Yeah, well, I give him number 2, just because of the defensive prowess that Jordan had. Green wasn't known for his defensive. And when you play both sides of the court the way Jordan did, I give Kareem number 2.
Yeah.
That's my take on that.
Jay, I think he's the GOAT. I think Kareem's the best. Yeah, but I might change my opinion here about 4 or 5 years. I don't know. But, yeah. Ooh. Okay, I got out of that one alive. I get nervous talking about that for a big trade, man.
I agree with you. Like I don't mention Jordan or Jordan or LeBron without saying Kareem. Kareem's if you're going to debate, Kareem is always in that debate for me.
Right, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
that's for people that really know the game.
Yeah.
And not dealing with the emotional side of it. You got the man's work. It speaks for itself. And that's what you're supposed to be defined by.
Yep.
Your work. So you definitely can't keep him out.
right. Second name I have on the list is Bill Russell. Bill Russell. What?
Hey,
I should have worn my helmet, man. You're bringing up all these names I get nervous talking in front of him about, man. That's the worst name you could have brought up. I agree with you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, Jay. Trey.
hey, the best winner ever. I mean, and that's and we talking about college. If I ain't mistaken, did he ever lose a game in college?
I know the 2 national titles they won. I think they went undefeated, and San Francisco went undefeated both of those years, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I'm gonna tell you,
back-to-back championships since 55 and 56. I don't see anything about undefeated though.
Okay.
okay,
yeah, they won back-to-back, though, at San Francisco. Yeah.
Career 20-20, 20 points, 20 rebounds, 2-time NCAA champ. 2-time player of the year. His first college game, he scored 19 and 19. And Bill Russell's famously known for forcing the NCAA to change the rule to widen the lane due to his defensive dominance.
But y'all didn't hear he said career 2020. Yeah. Career.
In college.
That is crazy.
That's a lot of rebounds in college.
I really don't know too much about Bill Russell's college days, So but those numbers, you can't argue with that.
Yeah, I looked up other guys that I thought like a little bit more modern guys would be like, yeah, these are some great players, some great college players like, Christian Laettner or some of those guys, right? And I look at their numbers and I was like, really? They only averaged like 15 points a game, 12 points a game, something like that. And you look at these guys averaging, 20 points, 20 rebounds a game, 30. Some of these guys average 30 points, some higher. And you're like, yeah, okay, no doubt.
But I think you just said something that's kind of important, and is that, these guys played under a different set of rules. So if I'm correct, Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 points is something that made them change the rule because there was no 3 seconds before he scored that 100 points.
Yep, he's right on that.
So, with him being able to camp out in the lane all day, I would think that make it a little bit easier not to lessen what he did, but I think that plays a part in it.
Fair point. Fair point.
And it's kind of hard for me to put, big men back then, at the top because, they wasn't letting a lot of, black people like guards and stuff, they wasn't letting them in. Even in college, if you were 7 foot, you can go to college and play, if you were a black 7-footer. So it's kind of hard for me when they weren't playing against the competition of now, So, and I don't try to take anything away from them, but I am argumentative on things. So I look at everything, So it's kind of hard for me to just give them that.
Yeah, I think that sometimes when you get into discussions about the greatest of all time and things like that, when Kareem's name or Wilt's name get brought up, it's like it was easier for a guy that size and that athletic to be dominant back then when all the guards and other positions were shorter white dudes, not as athletic. You know what I mean?
I mean, the competition you play against got to stand for something.
Well, I'm gonna say this: they just as easily could have been bums at that size. For them, I think that's a lot of pressure for a guy to be that big playing during that time. Like the expectations is through the roof, is what I'm saying. So for them to actually perform under that kind of scrutiny and under that pressure, I think is amazing, pretty much. So,
well, some of those players like Kareem, even when the competition got better, he still continued to dominate. So exactly. It really don't, it don't matter on that level. So.
And he had the unstoppable move. I think he could use that not today at being 75 years old, but I'm saying that no one today would be able to touch that either.
Okay. So. All right. Well, I got one more name on my list, and then you guys are gonna throw out your names.
Sure.
And this one, I don't know if this one's gonna shock anyone, but Pistol Pete Maravich.
Come on. Of course, he's on my list. I have him number 2. No. My all-time list.
Now we talking about records,
right?
He didn't have the scoring record. It might be going on 50 years, and I don't think it'll ever be broken. Quite honestly,
it still stands.
A player would have to average 45 points a game for 4 years to break his record. That record is never getting broken.
I don't think it'll ever be broken.
Never going to get broken.
I have him number 2 all time.
No 3-point line.
No 3-point line.
That's crazy.
And didn't he only play 3 years? Because again, freshmen couldn't play, so he got that record in 3 years.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Career averaged 44 points a game, and it's still a record.
Yeah. To me, I would put that when I've talked over the years about records in any sport that's never going to get broken. That's in my top 3. The other 2 would be Johnny Vandermeer's back-to-back no-hitters. Nobody's going to pitch 3 consecutive no-hitters in big league baseball. And the 100 points, I don't think is going to get broken either. Whether he was camping in the lane or not, I don't think that record's going to get broken.
Right.
So. But Pistol Pete's scoring record in college is not going to.
And that doesn't come up enough. People don't really get that. You rarely hear that. And there's a lot of people that don't even know he has that record. That consider themselves basketball fans. So I don't think that's talked about.
Some people downplay that because, and I don't agree with these people that downplay, but they downplay Pistol Pete because his father was the head coach, Press Maravich.
Okay.
And their analogy is that, he ran his whole offense around his son and this and that. But
okay,
it's just
at the end of the day,
just haters.
he still performed.
I know.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
People were still checking it.
Right. No, I agree with you guys. I'm with you on this.
You got to imagine he probably had 2 and 3 people on him.
That sound like you LeBron fans. People be reaching. That's what
No.
fans do.
I didn't. No. I was talking about. I don't agree with them people that say that.
I'm just saying they sound like a bunch of LeBron fans. That's all I'm saying.
See what you started with this LeBron. Wait a minute. I told you before he got here. Hold on. Before you got here, I told him not to bring up LeBron and Mike.
I said their names one time.
Don't stick to
but Ray, you got a good point. I mean, Press ran the offense around him because they were a shitty team.
Yeah.
LSU was a terrible fucking team.
But don't the coach run their offense through every star player on
best
the team?
player, right?
They
still do that now. Yeah. He almost went to West Virginia, but chose to stay
I didn't know that.
For a bad LSU team because his dad coached this.
Okay. I didn't know about the West Virginia thing.
He averaged career 44 a game.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Stamina.
Come on,
that's that Kenyan stamina.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Come on.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever seen better ball handling skills than Pete Maravich.
And Jay, fourth quarter, if you can play in the fourth quarter with that kind of energy, that's special, because you be dead tired.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's the difference between great and good players. The great players still going. Like this first quarter.
And I think about the fact that the college halves they don't play quarters. They play 20-minute halves.
Right.
So he keeping up this energy for. I'm sure he played 40 minutes a lot of nights. I'm sure. To average 44, I'm sure he played 40 minutes a lot of nights.
And that's over a point a minute. Man. I never think about that. He averaged over a point a minute for his career in college.
That's putting in work.
Damn.
With no 3-point line.
With no 3-point line.
It made it look easy.
Yeah.
It made it look easy.
Over 3 years doing that. Wow.
And his ball handling skills, and one shit right there. Remember when and one used to come on ESPN? He could have played at Rucker Park with them handles.
The professor ain't got shit on Pete Maravich.
No, Pistol Pete was serious.
He don't, but the professor's a bad dude. Don't diss the professor. He is a bad dude. You see what he does with those guys in the joint.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, is that it for?
That's my list. Yeah.
The way I want to do it, man, I want to take turns, man. We'll let Jay go first. We'll have him bring up a name, and then we'll just go around the table taking turns throwing names out there. Go ahead, Jay. Who you got?
Since we talking about LSU, Chris Jackson.
Oh,
okay. Chris Jackson was, man, like he only played 2 years, but those 2, like if he would have played 4 years, he might have got close to Pistol Pete, but he wouldn't have broke it. But again, he had the advantage of being able to shoot threes. But for him to be as small as he was and to be able to dominate the way that he did in college, Chris Jackson.
What did he average?
He averaged 30.
He was 30. Wow.
30 as a freshman and as a sophomore.
Yeah,
he played. That's hard to do in college.
He played on a good LSU team. He played with Shaq and Stanley Roberts.
He did, but they wasn't on his level at that time.
I know.
Yeah, they were. If they had been, if it had been NBA Shaq on that team, they would have won a couple of championships. Definitely.
Chris Jackson. When you mentioned his name, the first thing came to my mind. Now, here's something that don't get talked about enough. One of the best crossovers ever. You ever see him cross somebody over?
Yep.
No one ever, Grant Hill, Tim Hardaway. There's a lot of good names. Kyrie Irving, God Shamgod. I don't ever hear Chris Jackson's name. That guy had a nasty crossover. Kobe had a good crossover too.
But you talk about like Steph with the off the dribble, and can shoot.
Yeah.
Chris Jackson was that, off the dribble, on the dime.
Definitely.
That's so it was before Steph because we just talk about him off the dribble with the shooting, which makes him such a great shooter.
Yeah.
But Chris Jackson was that.
And Chris Jackson, that he did a lot for Tourette's syndrome because he was born with Tourette's syndrome. So he did that with Tourette's. Right. And, he made people believe that had that disease, that somebody they could look up to.
Right.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, Chris Jackson later became known as Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Right.
He changed his name.
Right.
That would be, the guys that are like my age and a couple years younger, I'm glad you clarified that for them. because they probably don't know who Chris Jackson is. They would know more Mahmoud. The guys I graduated with and went to high school.
And I'll give another fact about Mahmoud is that he was Kaepernick before Kaepernick.
Yeah, that happened at the Palace. Yeah,
he was Kaepernick before Kaepernick.
Right.
Yeah, yep. He did that at the Palace. Yep. Okay. Who? Trey, you got somebody?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it home. I'm Glenn Rice.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna bring it home. Really, I know Bird shot the three, but Bird didn't have a 3-point when he was playing, did he? I don't believe so.
When he was playing college?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
So the three wasn't there. So Glenn, I think, was the first big 3-point assassin. At 6'8", 6'9", and the things he done. It was kind of revolutionary. A guy that size, handling his business, won the championship. And then it's fashion. So I'm gonna go with Glenn.
Man, a lot of good things I could say about Glenn. Man, he still owns the single tournament scoring record, 184 points in that 89 tournament. It's still a record. Glenn Rice is my favorite Michigan athlete ever. Yeah, I love Glenn Rice, man. That 89 tournament, and you guys are Spartan fans, but every time he shot the ball, it had nothing but the bottom of the net every time he shot the ball. It was pretty.
No answer.
Yeah, I don't know. Jay, you know him personally, man.
I'm gonna just tell you that when it comes to, I'm like I tell people, I'm always from Flint before anything. So if there's ever a Flint person that's doing something, that the MSU U of M thing go out the window, because you would have thought I was a huge U of M fan.
Around that time, yeah, absolutely.
I wanted them to bring it home. I really did. So, but just seeing, for me, just seeing his improvement, like I remember he literally came to Flint. I want to say he was in like the 5th or 6th grade. Okay. Went to Garfield with us, and he was one of T's good friends. So just from seeing him from then to like what he is now, like he is literally one of the best shooters ever in basketball history, ever.
Yeah. Here's a list that I've always wanted to see. I've never seen a list. Now, Glenn Rice was a starter on a high school championship team, 2 state titles at Northwestern. He was a starter at Michigan when they won. And he started with the 2000 L.A. Lakers, Shaq and Kobe. And I'd like to see a list of basketball players that have started on championship teams at all 3 levels. I can't imagine that the list is that long.
Right.
But Kareem would be one.
I would say that the list ain't even long for players who didn't play it on all 3, let alone started.
Right. Yeah. Shit, just to win one would have been good to me. Glenn Rice. I'm glad his name. I was going to bring his name up later, but I'm glad his name was brought up. That's my favorite college athlete ever. And my sister was going to Michigan at the time, so she was taking me to the Chrysler Arena, and I seen it up close and personal, which was nice.
Right. And you was talking about Lloyd Vaught yesterday.
Oh yeah,
which I hadn't heard that name in a minute, but he was that glue guy.
Yeah, workhorse, garbage man.
Right.
Those are the kinds of guys you need on your team.
But you don't have no more. You really. Today, at least they don't do it like with the fashion that the garbage men did it.
Okay, I got an interesting name. Okay, Dan, bear with me. Okay, it's not at the level of what they just named. Okay, just giving this guy a little credit, man. Andre Hudson. We played at State, played with the Flintstones. Okay, now. The Stones deserve all the adulation and credit that they deserve all that, but you don't hear Hudson's name ever. Okay, now look, I'm not putting him in the College Basketball Hall of Fame,
I looked at his. Guess who you were saying? I wouldn't have picked that.
I looked at his numbers, earlier today. I had looked this, so I knew what I was talking about. He had decent big man numbers. He did his job in there. It wasn't flashy, but those are the kinds of guys that I like Lloyd Vaught. Not comparing him to Lloyd Vaught, but Andre Hudson, we know Mo, Pete, and Mo Cleese and Antonio. He wasn't on the championship team, but he helped restore that program. Jay Rich was on the, obviously we know him being from the Saginaw Valley. Charlie Bell. But Hudson did a good job, a good enough job. He didn't make or break the team. So I wanted to throw his name out there and just to let people who are fans of State, what he did wasn't unnoticed, man. He did a good enough job, and he's kind of left out because he's now from Flint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was you dating his mother or something?
All right. I'm not okay. No more players like that. No more. I'll just do superstar players.
Seriously, I think that if you was to ask the players on that team during that time, they couldn't have did what they did without him. Right. He is the prime example of you can't judge success or how effective you are by numbers.
Right.
Because we was talking about the glue guy. Like he was one of the super glue guys.
And he was that Cliff Livingston type of player. That high energy guy.
Nice one. Yeah, good one. That's a good one. Cliff Livingston.
Cliff Livingston.
He's talking about when he played with the Hawks. He ain't talking about Bulls. Cliff. He's talking about Atlanta Hawks on TBS. Skip Carey, Rick Barry, Cliff Livingston.
But while y'all playing, Wichita State, Cliff Livingston.
Oh yeah,
right.
He can be mentioned in this conversation too.
Yeah. They had, let me see, Cliff Livingston. He played with Antoine Carr and I believe Xavier McDaniel. They was all on one team, weren't they?
Yes, sir.
Xavier McDaniel. There's another
sir.
good college name right there. He led the nation in scoring and rebounding.
Exactly.
The X-Man. So, yeah, Jay's right about those Wichita State teams. Cliff Livingston. Nice one, Judd.
Yeah.
All those high energy guys. You
Yeah.
know.
I like the high energy guy. Remember the junkyard dog, Drew? I like guys like that, man.
Rome, yeah. Yeah, that was my guy.
Well, okay, I said Hudson. I guess I won't do role players anymore. But
No,
It was
well,
cool.
you-
It was cool.
speaking
He
of-
deserves a mention.
Speaking of Hudson, you said that, he doesn't have impressive numbers, but the numbers aren't terrible either. He averaged 10 points, 6 rebounds,
Yeah.
60% field goal percentage,
Yeah.
72% free throw shooter.
The guy was coachable, good student.
Not terrible at all.
And them guys always in the right place at the right time because they make themselves available.
Yeah.
Like that. So, yeah.
So, okay. Go ahead, Jay. Your turn again, man.
I'm gonna have to go with another one of my all-time favorites, Danny Manning.
He's on my list. I told you, yeah.
Danny Manning.
Yeah. What he did at Kansas, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Manning was the truth, and he did it from that was during the time where guys didn't really come out like that.
Right.
So he did this consistently for 4 years. Had Kansas on his back for 4 years, which ended in them winning the national championship.
And when you look at Danny Manning, you be like, how did he do that? Because he wasn't the most athletic, and his game was old school. You know, back then.
Yeah. Yeah, very old school.
He just knew that game, man.
I feel like Danny Manning was kind of like a tad bit more athletic Tim Duncan, because when you think about it, they both kind of got ain't nothing flashy about their games.
Right. Yeah.
It was just kind of basic. Danny Manning, I think, just had more of a perimeter game pretty much. Yeah. And Tim Duncan was better, like in the post. But that's when I think of Danny Manning, that's what I think about Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I had him on my list as well.
Yeah, Danny Manning. Me and him was talking about Danny Manning yesterday on that long car ride home. And when Jay said he carried the team on his back, I mean, that team that he beat in the title game, they were from the same conference, Oklahoma Billy Tubbs' Oklahoma team. Listen, man, they had Stacey King, Mookie Blaylock.
They had some ballers.
I don't know if Wayman Tisdale was still there or not.
He wasn't there.
Okay.
He wasn't there.
But they Harvey Grant played with them, Horace's twin brother. Harvey played on that team.
And they had beat him 3 times that year.
Yeah.
They beat him 3 times that year.
So that was a run for the ages. Sometimes you just ain't going to be denied. And in '88, that's Danny Manning just wasn't going to be denied that year. And Larry Brown was the coach of that team. And I believe he's still the only basketball coach to win an NBA title and a college title. I think he's still the only one with the Pistons. He won 04 Detroit.
Wow.
Yeah,
Danny Manning. That's another good call, man. Me and Trey was talking about Manning yesterday for a good hour.
Yeah. Averaged 20 points a game, 8 rebounds, 59% field goal shooter, 74% free throw shooter.
Did his job.
Yeah. He wore the tightest shorts too, man. I mean, I know they wore tight shorts back then, but his were
Back then, they were all small.
He
Right?
was wearing diapers.
he took that to another level, man.
Diapers he had on.
All right, Jay, good call on that one. What do you say, Judson? Who you got?
I'm going to go with Ralph Sampson.
Oh, wow.
You got to go with Ralph Sampson. What he 3-time Wooden award winner. I mean that's enough said right there. And he was just dominant. Now that's just dominance. Yeah. He got to be in that top 5. He got to be in everybody's top 5. I think.
Yeah. So Ralph Sampson. Yeah, I would have to agree. Ralph Sampson was a beast. He never did well like in a tournament, but as far as that was just one of them things where luck wasn't on their side pretty much because he had a good team.
Yeah.
They actually had a really good team.
Virginia. Hey, Rick Carlisle, Jeff Lamp, they did have a good team. Yep.
Othell Wilson.
There you go.
Yeah. They had some ballers on that team, but yeah, Ralph Sampson was definitely dominant during that time.
I got an interesting Ralph Sampson story. You guys ready for this one? You may know this about Ralph Sampson, but
of course you do.
Listen to the true story. My father, and God is my witness, okay? I'm in Peoria, Arizona on vacation, visiting my buddy from the neighborhood. And where he was living at the time, there's a baseball complex across the street where the Padres play their spring training games. We went to a game. It was a nice day like it is now, and I'm just there at a baseball game. My back was hurting, and I was complaining, like, man, I can't wait to get out of here. My back hurts. And then, we're sitting in right field on the grass there. Look down there, way down there, there's this big, tall guy. And the guys that were sitting next to us, we were just talking. They were just sitting next to him. He said, hey, Manute Bol is here. I looked down. I said, damn, that guy is tall. I said, looks more like Ralph Sampson to me. He started getting, now remember, my back was hurting and all that. Then he started getting a little closer. You know me when I recognize him. I said, that is Ralph Sampson.
Right.
I'm the only one who recognized him. He was walking kind of fast. I ran. I leaped over a barricade. I said, hey, Ralph, man. I said, I'm a big fan, man. I was talking about the Twin Towers, talking about Virginia. I brought up Rick Carlisle and Jeff Lamp. Talked about his battles with Ewing. Talking about when he beat the hell out of Jerry Seasting in the finals at the Summit in Houston. I was talking about all that stuff. I asked him what he thought of Bill Laimbeer, And
what do you say? He
physically looked good. Just look at him. He was walking good. His voice sounded kind of weak, kind of. He didn't have that strong voice anymore. But he carries a Sharpie everywhere, probably because of knuckleheads like me that leap over barricades. Look like I was going to ambush him. I was just a fan, starstruck, because I don't really run into famous people like that. So to see Ralph Sampson, I shook his hand. I got a picture. I'll show you guys later on. I got my picture taken with him. But, yeah, I recognized him at a San Diego Padres minor league baseball game. Got his autograph and everything.
I'm interested. Did you remember what he said about Bill Laimbeer?
He didn't say anything that I thought that he was going to say. Okay. He said, no, that's not one of my
favorite.
He's not a friend. He's not a friend of mine. No, I figured that.
That's what I was trying to get.
And I told him, I said, I'm from Flint, man. I said, I'm a big Bad Boys fan. I'm from Flint, Michigan. He said, oh, okay. He said, Kyle Kuzma, huh? I said, yeah. So he threw Kyle Kuzma's name out there. But, yep, that was my Ralph Sampson experience. But even if I didn't meet Ralph Sampson, I would still agree that he's got to be mentioned up there at the University of Virginia.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, yep, good one. That's a good one. Who brought up Ralph Sampson?
Yeah, I brought him up.
That was you? Okay, so we'll go to me now. All right. God, here's a guy. Got to give credit where credit's due, man. I'm the man that tells it like it is. I didn't like him. Still don't like him.
I know where you're going with this.
Christian Laettner.
Okay.
Got to say, okay, look, man. 4 Final Fours all 4 years. 2, back-to-back national titles. And if I'm not mistaken, the Fab Five never beat Duke in the regular season or in the tournament.
Right.
And if you look at all the losses that the Fab Five had in the 2 years they were together, the only time they got blown out was by Duke in that championship game. We did have a 1-point lead at halftime, but that don't mean shit. But Christian Laettner, couldn't stand him. He was good college player. I'm talking college only. Right. Okay? He had a long NBA career. I'll give him credit for that.
The big shot he hit.
But the unfortunate thing for Christian Laettner that I'm a little bitter against is when I hear his name, I don't even think about him as a college player no more. I think about the dream team he was on. Okay. Like, the hell is he doing here? That should have been Shaq's spot. I know he wasn't smart yet, but I would have liked to see Magic Johnson throwing lob passes to Shaq against all them foreign guys. But college game though, look, man, I got to give credit, man. You hated him, but he beat you.
Right.
So
who beat UNLV?
Duke.
Yeah, that was Duke, right? That's
Duke,
what I thought.
yeah.
That's what I thought. Yep.
Technically, Duke beat him. If you watch that game again, the Final Four game, you had to watch the whole game in its entirety. Watch it now that it's been 30 years later, and look at the way UNLV's dribbling the ball, the way they're intentionally like balls going off there. They can't throw the ball in the post. They can't do anything. Come on, man. Yeah. Come on, man. But I mean, it is what it is.
UNLV, Las Vegas.
Had UNLV won the title that year in 91? Because you got to remember, the year before is when they won the national title. But it was the following year, the 91 season. They went undefeated in the regular season, blowing everybody out. Right. The only team they didn't blow out was Arkansas. Todd Daly, Mayberry.
They blew Arkansas out, too.
Did they blow them out? Didn't they have a good game when it was number 1 versus number 2?
Yeah, it started off good. But
they blew ended up a rout.
Too. Yes.
And then in their first 4 tournament games, they routing everybody, like Dream Team style. And then they couldn't do nothing right against Duke. But
I think you got to consider one, the man who was on the sideline, Coach K. Think of you a competitor.
Sure.
So think about the fact that before, when you played them in the tournament, they beat you by 30 in the national championship game. So you think Duke wasn't fired up for that game? I mean, UNLV, that's one of my favorite teams of all time, that UNLV team.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that, I mean, I hear what you're saying, because stuff like that do happen.
It was way out of character.
But I think it was just one of those things that, for one, you got the pressure of staying undefeated. And, people try to make it seem like it ain't no pressure, but that's a lot of pressure, to be talking about having an undefeated season. And you trying to beat this team again, who, again, you beat by 30 points in a national championship. Not just beat them, but you embarrassed them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We was talking about UNLV also yesterday, weren't we, for a quick minute? Right. Now, I'm going to give a shout-out to somebody on that UNLV team when they won the national title. Now, we all know Stacey Augman and Larry Johnson, okay? Right. We know that whole squad. Anderson Hunt was the tournament's most outstanding player when they won that national title from Detroit Southwestern High School. So we ain't going to talk about UNLV without at least mentioning Anderson Hunt's name. That guy was –
And really, now I do remember him being out of character that game. I mean, he was shooting bricks, and that wasn't like him. And I wonder, he didn't even get drafted, did he? I don't even think he got drafted.
Did you guys ever play against Andrew? Did you guys ever play against Hunt?
I never.
No, he was a senior when I was a freshman.
Okay,
and we fell, I think, two games short. Okay. We lost in the regional finals to Northern. And Northern wound up playing them though.
Flint Northern.
Yeah.
So that had been Justice Thigpen and Demetrius Caleb,
Curtis Cuthbert.
Okay.
Did he go? Wait, did he go to Persia? Where he go?
No, he went to Southwestern.
Southwestern.
Yeah.
He was at Southwestern.
Perry Watson. Perry Watson guy.
Right.
Yeah. No, Anderson.
And he didn't get drafted. I always wondered. Well, I always thought that was kind of
odd. I thought it was. I feel like because really, when you think about it, he was just a shooter. Like he wasn't somebody that was going to take you off the dribble and give you buckets. He wasn't. He was too small to really be a 2-guard. I mean, it worked in college because of the other players that he was with. But his game, I don't think he just one of them players. I didn't feel like his game translated to the NBA and what they would expect from him.
Normally, that's what that expectations team. Because normally, if you can shoot, they got a spot on the team for you. If he could have just did that, he probably couldn't have just played that position just as a Steve Kerr type of shooter.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I think I threw out Christian Laettner's name, so we'll go to Jay now.
Christian Laettner. Oh, I got a real good one. Len Bias. Len Bias.
Jay stole my thunder. I was going to bring up Len Bias later. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Len Bias. Len Bias had one of the single best performances I've ever seen in a college game. If you ever get a chance, look it up.
Okay.
Maryland at North Carolina, and I think he had like 35. But you always hear people say, what he would have been, but I seriously feel like if he would have stayed alive, he would have rivaled Jordan. I really believe that he was that good.
And I wonder, do you have a number? Do you know? Because they played in college against each other. I wonder how did that? What was the numbers on that game?
Yeah,
I know Jordan wasn't the man
because I don't remember like when Len came, because I think Len came in and so he left in '86, so that they might have been there for about 2 or 3 years.
I believe they had to play against each other.
Well, hold on. Well, we can't say Michael wasn't the man yet. He won 2 National Player of the Years, I think, in college.
But I thought they probably had ran against each other his freshman year.
Yeah. Now Larry Bird said that if he would have stayed alive, if that wouldn't have happened, he said, I was going to retire and pass the torch to Len Bias.
Okay.
He said he was that good. Right. I mean, Larry Bird said he was that good. I could retire. I was going to pass the torch to him.
Well, his reputation speaks for itself.
And the thing about him was he wasn't one of them guys who came in the gate, doing his thing. He just like gradually got better every year. And by his senior year, he was just like really, you could always tell he was like a great athlete, but as far as just, playing the game and knowing how to play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he played on some good teams too. He had some great teams. Adrian Branch, Derek Lewis. He had a lot of high profile players. Keith Gatlin was on his team.
Was Buck Williams still there? Or he was gone?
Yeah,
okay.
He was gone already.
Okay.
Yeah, he was gone already.
Len Bias, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate. You talk about Len Bias being a dominant college player and being drafted second overall by the Boston Celtics, and then 2 days later you go back to campus and hanging out, partying with friends, and doing cocaine and overdose like that, and it's just a sad story.
Yeah. One of the saddest tragedies of sports. I believe.
I agree.
Definitely
when it comes to it.
Yep. Rest in peace. Yep. Len Bias. All right, Judd.
Well, I'm gonna go, and I don't necessarily believe he's a top 16, but I can't get up here without talking about him for what he did. I'm gonna go with Glenn Robinson.
Big dog.
Big dog wasn't playing no games, man.
Man, 31 and 11. 31 and 11.
Oh man, he was not playing.
You talking about that's a walking bucket right there.
That's it, man.
Glenn Robinson was a walking bucket.
He had the shot. He can go down low. He can take you off the dribble. He can pull up. He just, he did a bunch of everything. And I was like, man.
I think the thing that put him over was his mentality, though. Like they call him Big Dog, and I just he had a dog like mentality. Like he was like a for real dog.
Yeah, walk on water. You can't do nothing with me. Period.
He knew couldn't nobody guard him. He knew that.
There was one person who had a problem with that Big Dog nickname. You guys know who that was?
Who was that?
The original Big Dog. We
brought
Antoine Carr.
Yeah.
But no, 31 and 11. Come on, man.
Yeah, you can't. He was crazy, man. And that was at a time when college was jumping. It was mad.
Oh,
mad
yeah. Fab Five era. Yeah. Fab Five, Jimmy Jackson, Calbert Cheney era. Big Ten
Jamal
era.
Mashburn.
Steve Smith.
Yeah.
Man, shoot.
Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson.
Yeah, it was just raining with jazz. So Glenn Robinson, you can't talk about great college players without bringing him.
That was cool seeing him wearing Michigan gear, though, when his son was playing at Michigan.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing him and Tim Hardaway with the Michigan Scully on, man. Him and Big Dog wearing the Michigan gear.
That kind of came full circle because Glenn Robinson always gave the Fab Five problems. When Michigan played Purdue back in the Fab Five era, it was like Glenn Robinson. Like he just gave him fits.
Yeah, he was about 6'10".
I think so. I think so. Yeah,
6'7".
6'7".
Was he 6'7"?
6'7".
I could have swore he was bigger than that, but
he was like 6'7", 6'8".
6'7", 225.
We played bigger than
Okay, I got this is kind of more of a what if. It's kind of on the same lines of Len Bias, kind of. Ben Wilson, I'm gonna talk about. I know he didn't play college because he passed away in high school, but the reason why I'm gonna make this real short. But what if? Okay, 89, we won the title. Now look, man, I'm the man that tells it like it is. I'll be honest here. We wouldn't have beat Illinois in the Final Four if Ben Wilson was on that team because that's where he would have played was Illinois. He would have played with Kendall Gill, Marcus Liberty, and Kenny Battle.
Yep.
I'm going to have to.
Well, hold on. I won't say Michigan wouldn't have won.
No, it ain't even about that.
But if Ben Wilson would have played with all those guys at Illinois, what do you think?
I think that it's possible that he would have been a DePaul because that was the thing. That was the back and forth between Illinois and DePaul. A lot of people thought he was a lock to go to Illinois, but think about the DePaul teams during that time. That's when DePaul was really a national power as far as college basketball.
Yeah, you're right. They had some good ones. But if he would have went to Illinois, though,
I still don't say that they're gonna beat Michigan because when you look at the players that they already had on that team and they still didn't beat them. You know, you got a National High School Player of the Year coming off of the bench, in Marcus Liberty. So just adding him, I don't feel like would have just put them over the top because at the end of the day, Michigan was talented. You got Terry Mills, Ramil Robinson.
Oh no, I'm
McDonald's
not.
All-American.
I'm not slighting Michigan. Stephen Bardo, I think, played with Illinois too, didn't he?
Yep, he did.
It would have been interesting. It would have been interesting.
It would have.
My eyes would have been glued. That would have been a good game.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen the 30 for 30 on Ben Wilson,
that's great.
It's a great 30 for 30 on Ben Wilson, and I believe in that documentary it does say that he was intended to go to Illinois.
Okay, I'm going to check that out.
I think, now, if I'm not mistaken, this is a little fun fact here. I think R. Kelly played high school with Ben Wilson. I think they played at the same high school.
Could be.
But yeah, what if? I just thought it would have been interesting. Yeah. Not, I'm not crowning anybody, but it would have been interesting. That's another life lost.
That was just another one of those great tragedies, and he was in high school.
Yeah,
and
I think he was 17 years old.
17, and got shot.
Yeah,
that was a real tragedy.
Yep. Okay, well, I gave Ben Wilson. Go ahead, Jay.
I got one for you. I got a for real one for you. Jay Edwards.
Oh yeah. He played with the Utah Jazz. I can't remember where he played at college.
Jay Edwards went to Indiana.
Okay.
And when he, again, one of those guys who he's a walking bucket.
Was he on the 87?
No, he wasn't on 87. He was 88, I want to say.
Okay.
He came the year after.
Okay.
Yep. He had won 3 straight state championships in Indiana, which was unheard of.
Didn't know that.
Indiana, they only have one class. They don't have like A, B, C, D. It's just everybody is in the same tournament. So, they won.
I like that. I like it that way.
I went to college in Indiana, and I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's changed now, but during that time, they only had one class.
Wow. Okay. I like it that way. I don't know. Kind of like UFC. Remember 30 years ago, anybody fought anybody. You fought 4 times a day. Now today, you got guys like Nate Diaz walking around.
Weight classes, you only fight once every 6 months.
But I didn't know that about Jay Edwards, 3 state in a row.
Yeah, him and Lyndon Jones was his high school teammate. They both went to Indiana, and Jay. I think Jay only played 2 years and got drafted, I think, by Denver in the first round, but he didn't.
So Jay would have played against like Glenn Rice and Gary Grant and all in that era.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good one. I didn't know Jay won 3 straight high school state championships, and I didn't know that they only had one class in Indiana. I like that.
That's why the high school championship in Indiana at that time was so revered, because it was just all like the whole state. Like like I said, it wasn't split up into divisions. It was just everybody was in the same tournament.
Well, I didn't know that. And I went to college with Kojak Fuller, which was the Mr. Basketball from Indiana at the time, and we never talked about it. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
I wonder, was it like that then?
I can't stress enough. I do like one state champion. I like that. Just like Mr. Basketball, there's only one Mr. Basketball in the state. I like that. What do you think, Dan?
Undisputed best of the best.
Yeah,
there ain't no doubt.
The best team is going to win.
Definitely.
All right.
Okay. Jay Edwards. That's a good one. I can't say that I remember him in college. I do remember him playing a good role for the Utah Jazz, though. Okay, good one, Jay. All right.
Well, I'm gonna go a little new school. I'm gonna give Trae Young some props.
Okay.
Leading in assists and scoring for a point guard. In one season, that's hard to do. So that's just like putting your dominance on the game. Night in and night out. So I'm gonna give him some love.
I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that at all.
Yep.
I agree.
Okay.
Average 27 points.
Right. As a freshman.
Yeah, he's cold. Like my buddy Van would say, cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Turning out to be a real nice pro, too.
He's a real good pro.
Yeah.
He's gonna have his time, I think. Once the GOAT retires. No. Okay, all right. I'll stop. That was last time.
Last one, Rick.
Sheep.
Okay, last one. I just had somebody in mind. Lost my train of thought. Oh, I know who I was going to say. I'm going to give this guy a little love because, like Jay, I'm a Flint guy first. Terry Furlow, when he was at Michigan State. He still has the record for single 50 points in a game he scored for State. That's still a MSU record. He scored that against Iowa. So we all know what he did in high school, and he was another one that we lost,
tragedy.
Yeah, a tragedy, a car accident. But Terry Furlow, I got to give him some love, man. 50 points in the game for Sparty 50 years ago, still a record today. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I agree.
Yeah, now
and they need to retire his number. That's the other thing. They need to go on and do what's right and retire his number.
yeah, I didn't know his number wasn't retired. Wow.
Anytime you got a record that ain't been broken that long, I mean,
Yep.
you deserve that.
50 spot. It's the only time 50 had been scored for state. All right, I mentioned Charles Barkley earlier, and I'm not saying I agree with this, man. I'm just going to quote what he said. In his words, he said that if you say somebody if you're always talking about how hard somebody works, then he probably don't have any skills. The only thing I can compare that to is I'm going to put you in a situation here, okay? Let's say that you were not a good basketball player. We all know you were, but I'm just saying, let's just pretend you weren't. Jay, if I were to say to you, if you were to say, hey, Ray, I want you to describe Judd's game to me. Is he good enough to run with us this weekend? If I start off by saying, look, Jay, I like Judd. He's a nice guy. Where do you think it's going to go from there? When you call somebody a nice guy at first before you start describing usually it doesn't end well.
Yeah, that's kind of like if you ask somebody what a girl look like that you haven't seen, and if they start talking about how nice she is, and, stuff like that, you kind of know where that's headed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good point there. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about for Charles Barkley. Dan, you got another segment for us?
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about. I want to kind of bring it back to today's NBA. So back in the day, this didn't happen a lot, but everybody knows about the one and done thing, right? A lot of players one and done, go to college 1 year, then off to the NBA because of the NBA's rule where you have to be a year removed from high school, or 19 years old, something like that. But now we're seeing a lot of players even forgo college, and now they're able to go play overseas, play in the G League, and move on to the league. LaMelo Ball, most recently, he went over to Australia, I believe it was, played basketball for a year in Australia, then was drafted into the NBA. And then this year, Jalen Green, I believe, played in the G League instead of going to college. He played in the G League 1 year, then got drafted into the NBA. Both routes, they're considered professionals getting paid rather than going to college. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about the one and done? What do you guys think the alternatives, G League, playing overseas, those routes to the NBA?
Well, I think from a fan point of view, you want to see them kids and play some college ball, but that's just from a fan point of view. That's just from my selfish point of view. But people have families to take care of, and you have to let them guys go ahead and make their money. And they have people that they love that they need to take care of and provide for. So, they got to do what's best for them. So I don't have any problem with how our man gets his hustle on and what avenue he takes it to get there,
Only issue I have is I think they should just let them go straight out of high school. I feel like that year that they spent in college is a waste because when you think about it, you only got to be eligible for a semester. Once that second semester hit, that's it. And I feel like that scholarship would be better used on somebody who can actually benefit from it. Like, you ain't benefiting from a scholarship, just playing 1 year and going to class for one semester. And I can't even imagine what classes you would even be taking for that semester.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I think that they should let them go straight out of high school. I have no problem with them, making their money or however they do it. But I think what I see a lot of, or what you're starting to see a lot of, is now, like, it used to be about the love of the game, and now to me it's about the money. And I think that's kind of what hurt the game a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys get this money, and then they stop working. Because you could literally go down a list of one and dones and be like, well, where is he now?
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest proponent for why guys want to rush to the NBAs, because they want the money, they want to provide for their family, they come from impoverished backgrounds or areas where they need that money to provide for their family.
And like Jay said, that one and done and running to the NBA, it's like the love of, like you say, the love of the game. It's just it ain't there, because when you in NBA, you stay in there, and you would stay if you're a real player. You would play without money if you love a game, And it's like once they get the money, they satisfied, so they don't want to keep playing. They get the money and then they go on and do their own thing, And when I was playing, I couldn't imagine not playing the game of basketball. That just wasn't a thought process of mine. So it's just crazy that that a guy would just say bump the NBA when you make it there. Because they want to put the work ethic in.
Yeah, because you hear a lot of players talk about branding and my brand. And again, to me, that take away from the game, because I think I just feel like the game that I grew up watching, like you could tell that players love the game and they always was going all out. Like players it wasn't no what they call that, load management. It wasn't none of that. Right. You would literally have to make these players not play.
Right.
Like hide their jersey or their shoes or something for them to not play. You ain't just gonna tell them that you sitting out this game. So I don't know. I think the money has changed a lot as far as players working, because I just don't think that a lot of guys, when they get this money, I think it blinds them, and it's they kind of. I mean, we all been young. I think we've all had a little bit of money at some time or another, and you just felt like it was always going to be like that. So imagine you getting these millions, and you feel like it's just always like you always going to get this money, and you want to help everybody who you think you need to help, which they ain't going to do the same for you. So it's a lot that go into it.
It's a shame that you can't. Ain't nobody saying don't get your money, but it's a shame that you can't get the money and keep the hunger. And you get on this prima donna thing, like I ain't got to do this, I ain't got to do that, because you richer than the coaches and richer than everybody else.
Exactly.
But you should be able to still have the love and get paid as well.
And not to mention, we talking about a guaranteed contract. If you a first round pick, that whole contract is guaranteed. No matter if you don't ever score a point, you still getting that money.
Because you see some of these guys get these crazy contracts, and you be like, well, so you don't even got to work hard to get that kind of stuff, man. And you'd be like, wow,
What was Darko Milicic's contract?
Oh, I don't even know. I'd have to look that up.
I don't think he ever signed like a huge deal. Because I think by the time he got in, they had the rookie wage scale in place. So I don't think he ever signed like a huge deal for a lot of money.
Okay. I'm a share Judd's sentiments here. I'm a little more old school. I like this when these big time high school kids are coming out of high school. If someone was committed to, like a 5-star player was committed to Michigan, I know I would have him for 3 or 4 years, and I know it'd be good. I kind of miss all that, but at the same time, though, you got a chance to get your hustle on and take care of your family. Who's to say I wouldn't do that at that age either? So I share both the guys' sentiments here.
So do you think the one and done thing? Do you think it hurts the college game? Like the game of college basketball, you think it's bad for college basketball? Because if a guy shows up for 1 year and then jets,
it's definitely bad for the college's system, the basketball system, because you're trying to build, and you can't really build nothing if somebody's just going to be gone the next year. It got to do something bad for your recruiting and everything, So, some players may need that extra year, to hone on some skills to become better. But I don't know if you're not good enough to get to the NBA, I don't think that's going to make you good enough in 1 year. To get to the NBA, because it's pros. You got to be 1 year is not going to do it unless you grow 5 inches or something. But I just think it's bad for recruiting and the college systems.
Well, you got coaches like John Calipari and used to be Pitino. Seems like Kentucky, right? That's one and done. Right? All those guys, those one and done guys, seem to go to Kentucky. Play for a year in Kentucky and get drafted in the NBA and doing well. Guys, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker. There's some other guys I'm not thinking of right off the top of my head. But yeah, most schools don't do that. But there seems to be one or two schools that are like one and done you.
And you don't get you don't have no rivalries no more with the one and done thing. You know, it's just bad for the whole. You know,
I think the thing about it is that sometimes because of the like one and done comes in with an expectation. Like at Kentucky, I know that there were some kids who were kind of like forced into the draft. Like they didn't necessarily want to go, but because of this stigma that they got of getting one and done, now they got another class coming in, so they need that spot.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
So you got kids who being forced in the draft who might not even be ready.
That's crazy.
When you get a chance, look up Isaiah Briscoe. He was a high school All-American, came into Kentucky, played for 2 years, and still wasn't ready, and he went undrafted because he kind of got caught up in that system of the one and done. I just think they should, like he said, I don't think that 1 year is making that much of a difference, you know, as far as your development. So I think they should just let them go straight out of high school.
I'm selfishly speaking once again, man, I'm just going to say this. If you're a big-time recruit and you're going to wear the maize and blue, play all 4 years and play for the front of the jersey and not the back of the jersey. That's all I'll say about that. How's that?
That's out there. I will say, though, with this NIL thing that they got going on, it could be a game changer.
Yeah, it could. I don't know if it'll match the money the guys can make that some guys can make from playing overseas or in the G League, but you know the big superstars in college basketball, they're going to be making some big contracts with the NIL.
Yeah, but I guess when you think about it, as a college student, you don't really need a lot. You know, your schooling and everything is already paid for, so everything you make, you pretty much pocketing.
Right.
Well, I think that will have a lot to do with your family situation. You know, if your family is kind of all right or whatever, you know, then you probably, go ahead and that NIL be all right. But if your family is still struggling and, you know, you got to take care of people, that's not going to make you stay.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Point taken.
Okay.
Both guys, yep.
Yeah, great points. Okay, last thing we're going to do is kind of a new segment we're going to start up here on DSN. We have my son Mason here, who's eventually going to be taking over my role behind the boards here. It's kind of a segment to because he's a young kid. He's got some new school ideas on and opinions on the NBA and things like that. So we're going to do a segment each week where he brings up a new school opinion, and we're going to let the old school guys debate that with him. So he's sitting here next to me. He's a little off mic, so he's going to scoot over here and tell us or bring up a point, and we're going to argue it. We're going to debate it.
You too young to have an opinion.
So which one is it? I think I know two that he's brought up before. I think he's going to go with one of the two, right?
I have a feeling I think I know. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's about the Giannis one.
Okay, the Giannis point. Is Giannis the greatest Milwaukee Buck?
No, Kareem was a Milwaukee Buck. No.
He got. But I will say, Kareem didn't play there that long, so he is in a discussion. Now to just give it to him, and we can't forget about Mr. Triple Double Oscar Robertson.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Definitely can't forget about Oscar Robertson. So he in a discussion to definitively say that he is. No, I can't say that. By the time he's done playing, he definitely could be, but not right now.
But those two names, it could have been probably any other two people, probably, other than Mike, probably. But Oscar and Kareem, man.
Yeah.
Are we talking about championships only for Milwaukee, or can I bring up a name that didn't win a title? Could a guy be qualified to be in that discussion if he didn't win a title?
No, I doubt it.
Okay, I won't mention Sidney Moncrief then. No respect for
Which
Sidney
no,
Moncrief.
he gets some
you know
love.
what?
He gets some love.
Sidney
No doubt.
Moncrief definitely gets some love.
No doubt. But we just talking about.
But yeah, those are the four guys at the table: Oscar,
Of course.
Kareem, Giannis, and I gotta mention Sidney Moncrief, man.
Absolutely.
You like those defensive guys?
I mean, well, that's just a part of the game. I don't really think you can. You can't really separate the two.
Yep.
Magic.
Honorable mention. I'll throw Michael Redd and Ray Allen in there. Big Dog Robinson. Honorable mention, guys.
Terry Cummings.
Terry Cummings, good one. Yep.
OG,
Terry Cummings.
Triple OG.
You have a point you want to make? On you want to argue Giannis is the best buck? You got.
No, I'm saying that in the future he could be the best buck instead of Kareem.
In the future, he could be. So what's it going to take for Giannis to be at some point the greatest Milwaukee Buck ever?
Well, like Jay said, I think you put Kareem greatness more with the Lakers, I believe. So if you take that out of the equation, he's probably that right now. So if you really want to be honest about it,
even though he had better numbers as a Buck than as a Laker.
But you got that was a younger Kareem,
but more championships as a Laker,
and he had more championships with the Lakers, and because that's the other thing with the Lakers, because of the team that he didn't have to do as much. He had Worthy, he had Byron Scott, they had Cooper, they had Bob McAdoo, they had a number of weapons to where he didn't have to do much. But as far as the Giannis argument, I guess when you think about it, Kareem and Oscar Robertson did only win one title, which Giannis just did. So I think that he could definitely be. It could be argued that right now he is that.
And winning that MVP and defensive player in 1 year, that makes his point. So,
Yeah.
They did go to 2 NBA finals, though, Oscar and Kareem. They won one and lost one.
Right.
In 74, they lost to Boston.
How many titles would Giannis have to win for him to be considered the greatest Buck ever?
I'll say one more.
Right, and it'd be hands down because he's arguably that right now. So just one more, right, and that'd just be that'll end it.
Okay. What do you think? You got time for one more?
Yeah.
Because the other one's a basketball related one too.
Time. Yeah.
Come on over here and the Steph Curry.
Oh yeah.
Steph Curry. Come on, say it in the microphone.
already know.
If you got the opinion, you got to say it in the microphone.
I think Stephen Curry is.
I know where this is going.
They can't hear you. You got to get in closer.
I can't get closer.
You can get in closer. I'm your dad.
I think Stephen Curry is the second best point guard of all time.
My question would be, who was number one?
Magic Johnson.
Okay, that could be argued, and I think you may have people. The thing about these debates is that it's all based on what you like, and we all like different stuff. Like you keep hearing them say they like the glue guys or the guys who do the dirty work. I've always liked guys who can do everything. So like the taller guys who could dribble, shoot, pass, rebound, do everything. So I just think it's all preferential. And, I don't think you would get an argument out of many people saying that Steph Curry is the second best point guard. You might even get people who say he ain't really a point guard.
Right. Me, that would be me.
Jay, I think, take it easy on him. I know. I don't want you guys to take it easy on him, especially you, because I know you.
I'm gonna make it short and sweet. I talked about this before. Go ahead, Judd.
If you're just gonna go by the what he's called on he's the point guard. So when they say point guard, that's his face, on TV. But he's a two guard with the volume in which he shoot, But just like AI, I thought he was more of a two guard than a point guard. But I don't. You have an argument with him being the greatest point guard because he is a point guard, and just for the fact that he shoots the way he does, and he's a point guard, you have to give him some consideration for being the greatest point guard. So I won't say that you're totally wrong, but I got to kind of go with Jay. I like the guys that can do everything, So Magic Johnson for me is the number one point guard of all time.
And can I say this before Ray chime in? I think that you have to. So we all old school. So our what we think a point guard is different than what it actually is now.
Sure.
And you have to give him credit for changing that narrative. So I think that's something that you have to factor in when you're talking about whether he's the best point guard or not. The fact that he has changed the narrative of what a point guard actually is.
And that's because the game has changed. Magic Johnson used to run the flow, big man down, and, he controlled the point guard, because you had big men. Steph doesn't have to do that because the game is not like that. He don't really have to have a control of the game so much, because it's less positions really. no one is really specifically playing positions anymore, So so the fact that Magic had to control so many different scenarios when they ran certain plays and they when he had to stay mindful of that. So I just roll with Magic as all time point guard in my opinion.
Okay, Ray, let him have it.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely wrong on that. Now I agree with Michael Jordan with what he said. Okay, God in tennis shoes himself said Magic and Isaiah are 1 and 2. I believe Magic's number 1. Now, the pit bull thing you were talking about yesterday.
Yeah,
I don't know how to word it like you did. I want you to ask them. Put them in that pit bull scenario mentality with Isaiah and Curry, because I don't know how to word it like you did. I want you to ask them that.
Well, I was posing the question about who's the greatest between Michael Jordan and LeBron, and I said if you had a pit bull in the fight, what player DNA would you want your pit bull to have? LeBron's or Michael Jordan's? If you want to say who's the best of all time. And Ray, finally, kind of couldn't say nothing. It was like, wow, that's a great.
Those are private discussions.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up. so I ain't gonna tell the story without telling all of it. So I would ask you, young man, I don't know if you know a lot about Isaiah, if you're that kind of diehard fan, but what pedigree of DNA, if you had two pit bulls in the fight or a pit bull in the fight, would you want Steph Curry's or Isaiah's?
He'd have to say it.
Okay.
So
I keep trying to get him to watch the Bad Boys 30 for 30, but he hasn't done that.
So again, let me chime in and say that I feel like you couldn't survive during the Isaiah and Magic years without having that DNA.
Right.
Like that's something that you had to have because it was a very physical game. I watch highlights now from old games, and nowadays, like, you would be suspended for 30 games for some of the stuff that they did. Like, you knew when you go to the basket you was gonna get hit. Like that was just a thing. And to be able to keep getting up from, taking hits from Lambeer or some of them other big guys, like we talked about Xavier McDaniel and some of these other big guys continuously taking hits from these guys, like that, you got to have a whole different attitude as opposed to, kind of, and not just saying that Steph shoot 3-pointers, but that's what his game is based around. And to me, you don't have to have so much of a dog. I mean, you got to have it, but it's still different. So that's one of those things where I feel like the eras play. Like you can't compare eras pretty much.
And then to put that into more perspective, the way the game is called, you really only can make 2 hard fouls a game because they're flagrant fouls now. Yeah. And back then, it was just common fouls. Now, you only really can make 2 hard fouls or you kicked out the game. That's how soft the game is now.
Yeah. One more thing, and this might not have anything to do with the question Mason asked, but if I was an outsider, okay, if I wasn't born in Michigan and wasn't a Piston fan, I still got to factor in. Now, I've never said the Bad Boys were the greatest team of all time. You never heard me say that. But the road to get there, to win the title twice, trying to get through Larry, which took years. Magic took a couple years. Now you got this other young guy in Chicago that's getting ready to terrorize the league forever. That road that we had to go, and Isaiah was the leader. Okay, you can name names that he had this, he had that. Isaiah was our captain of the ship. The road that we had to win our 2 championships, nobody ever had a road that tough, my opinion. So, taking Isaiah. The only Magic Johnson I would say is better at the point guard position.
And I would say that Isaiah had the least weapons because only Joe was a fluent scorer. Magic had as far as just like
Vinnie. You can't
spell
Vinnie.
Okay, but he come in and light you up. But that'd be like 15 points. You know what I'm saying, or 11 or 12 or something.
It'll be 15 in a row
that you need. right. But of course. But I'm just talking about as far as volume. He only had Joe. And Magic had other people and even Bird.
Yeah,
he had Adrian Dantley, Mark Aguirre.
Well, you know what? I take that back. I stand correct. I forgot about AD. I stand correct.
Now, quick trivia. Who gave Vinnie Johnson the microwave nickname? Who gave him that nickname?
Blaha, didn't he?
No.
He didn't?
Nope.
I always thought it was Blaha.
Nope.
Who was it?
Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge.
Yeah. Okay. Danny Ainge gave him that nickname.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that till like 3 years ago. It's not like I knew it. I didn't know it the whole time. I knew it like 3 years ago.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, Danny Ainge gave him the nickname the microwave.
So what was it? He just cooked them, and then
I don't know who was interviewing Danny Ainge, but he referenced like, Vinnie Johnson. They insert him in the game. Guy's like a microwave. He just heats up and will put 12 on you in a matter of 3 minutes. Yeah. Like a microwave. That was the first time that was been said about Vinnie Johnson.
And I guess it kind of felt like they didn't really score because they was known for their defense. They won games with defense, so you really didn't see them as a scoring juggernaut. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably why.
Speaking of Vinnie, he probably has college basketball. We're talking about college basketball here. I'm sure he's happy about who won the national title this year. He's a Baylor alum. So, okay. Shout out to Baylor Bears. We had 2 Baylor Bears on our 89 Bad Boys team. Michael Williams, a Baylor Bear.
Okay.
Yep. I know Jay knew that.
All right. That I didn't know. Yep. I forgot about him, actually.
Yep, Michael Williams. Good questions, Mason.
Did we share it?
He nodded his head. Yeah, I know.
Did we share it? Well, I guess I got through him with the pit bull reference, so I guess we did. Kind of.
I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate he was honest like I was, and I thought it was a private discussion, but yeah.
Yeah. So to clear that up, Steph Curry, probably the best shooter maybe the NBA has ever seen. But
probably to it.
Point guard.
He is.
As far as point guard, a point guard to me, I don't know if Steph Curry would even be in my top 10 point guards of all time. He said, what? Yeah. I mean, without naming a bunch of names, like
because of how we view a point guard.
Yeah, a point guard he's the floor general, a facilitator, a guy that can score, pass, get his teammates involved,
and that's Draymond for the Golden State. He's the facilitator because he leads them in assists all the time.
Yeah. So yeah. That guy's going to steer the team, drive the team captain. Calling plays, running plays, passing just as well. Sometimes a better passer than a scorer.
I mean, you had no argument with me for that.
No argument out of me either.
All right.
I don't know about that. He's not top 10. I don't agree with that, but everything else I agree.
Might be a stretch. I'm gonna have to think about some names, but you talk about who you're taking as a point guard.
Oh, Jason Kidd,
Allen Iverson, John Stockton.
I don't consider AI a point guard necessarily because of what we saying. I'll put AI more in the Steph Curry.
Because really Eric Snow goes earlier.
Exactly.
Was the point guard.
Exactly.
Over there.
Exactly.
Usually when it comes to other point guards, other than like Magic, Isaiah, and Steph Curry, when I name other point guards, it's usually just point guards that I like Jason Kidd. Love Gary Payton.
Gary Payton's another one.
I'm a student of the game. I wasn't alive when Oscar Robertson played, but I would like to have seen him play when he was in his heyday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cincinnati Royals days.
Yeah, he was first big point guard. He was 6'5".
Yeah. So that was, Jerry West. If you ask him who's the best player of all time, Jerry West would tell you Oscar Robertson's the best player I ever seen. That's the words out of his mouth. I didn't say it. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what the logo said.
Yeah, well, with the triple doubles, he was the first one to do that.
Yeah.
So what was Earl? Was Earl the Pearl? Was he a point guard?
I was just going to ask.
He was a shooting guard.
Yeah, shooting guard.
I think Walt Frazier was the point guard and Earl Monroe was the scorer.
We passed him up in the draft, Earl Monroe. We had the number 1 pick Jimmy Walker, Jalen Rose's dad, Earl Monroe, number 2. I'm not saying that was a catastrophe, just a fact. We could have had Earl Monroe. Easy to second guess, hindsight 2020, but yeah, Earl Monroe was the second pick behind Jimmy Walker.
Hey, we took Darko instead of Carmelo. So
no,
man, don't even get me started on that. That's another day.
I know.
That's the biggest blunder since Jordan going third.
Sam Bowie.
But I gotta say that I gotta defend that pick because Sam Bowie coming out of Kentucky. When you think about the time and everything was pretty much from the inside, like that was the thing to have a 7-footer.
Yeah.
I got to defend that pick. And then you talking about who, Akeem was the first pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying in hindsight, Sam Bowie didn't even make,
We passed up, the Pistons passed up Devin Mitchell for Luke Kennard.
Now, Bob Knight said, he was talking about that 84 draft. He was talking to Portland's general manager, I think. And this is when Coach Knight was coaching the 84 Olympic team that had Michael on it. He told the guy, he said, you guys need to draft Michael. He said, yeah, but we need a center. He said, play Jordan at center. I said, what difference does it make? He said he said no center would be able to guard him, and he could guard most of those guys. He said, I don't care what you need, just take Jordan. Put him at center if you have to. Bob Knight said that.
Right. That's going all in.
All right, we'll be coming up to it. We got to wrap it up here, Ray. Okay,
man. Look, man. Always a pleasure when I got Big Judd here, All-American, Jay Greene from the Greene family here. I got to mention T. Greene, his brother, man. Basketball, football royalty, man. And, 30 years ago, when I was a freshman at Central High School, didn't know nothing, didn't know anybody. Never thought that there'd be a day where I'd be doing this with guys like you, because you was king when I got there. You was the king of the school, man. You and Ed Victory and Mike Fordham, you guys were kings, man. Jay graduated, but everybody knew who Jay and T. Greene were. So for me to be doing this now, I can't tell you how humble that makes me, man, and what an honor it is, man, because I'm just me, man. But, you guys are, to me, you're special, man. So I always appreciate when you guys are here. It makes it fun, man. It makes my work week go by fun knowing that I'm going to be doing this on Saturday. And blessed, I'm blessed, and I couldn't be happier, man. I can't say that enough every time you guys come here. I really can't.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys being on, even though you wore that green and white on our show.
Come on, I knew Jay was. But Jay, man, come on, man.
If you knew me, man, you know I'm a State fan. I'm Magic, man.
You ain't going to catch me with all this.
I already knew he was going to have it on,
All right, guys.
I remember one quick story. I was playing AAU, and this is how much of a Magic fan I am. And Gerald Wilkins was doing a talk there. We was in Florida, and the question was posed. I asked him who was better, Michael Jordan or Magic. And he told me Michael Jordan, and we had it out. To the point to where the coaches disciplined me because I was being a little disrespectful to Gerald. He was like, man, I checked him. I said, man, you can't even play. I just went all in defending Magic Johnson, And this was Michael before he retired. It was the first 3 rings. So when he come back and won the next 3, I said, okay, he was right.
I like Gerald Wilkins, man. I was a fan of his when he played at the Knicks. And since we're in college, Tennessee, Chattanooga, where he came from. But I can't let Gerald Wilkins go out like that. Gerald was a solid player, good defender. I mean, they couldn't beat the Bulls, but I like Gerald and the Wilkins.
But I was in my emotions. He pissed me off.
I know. I mean, if someone doesn't think Michael's the greatest, man, you can't take it personally, man. It's not a personal attack.
I was defending Magic Johnson.
But you went off on Gerald.
Yeah.
Poor Gerald Wilkins. Gerald is welcome on the show anytime, man. I'd love to meet Gerald
He
Wilkins.
was mad. I had him mad, man.
And I tell you what, man, could you imagine what was running through Dominique's mind? It was the game where, let me see, Gerald was with Cleveland. I think Dominique was still a Hawk at the time. I really don't remember. But Gerald was playing with the Cavaliers. And this is when Dominique was coming off of his Achilles injury. He was already healed. And then he had to watch his brother suffer that same injury at the Richfield Coliseum. It had to have been tough for Dominique to see him get carried out knowing. And back then, 30 years ago, that took a year to heal. Had to have been tough to see little brother getting carried out like that. So
I suffered that injury, and it still take a year to heal.
Okay.
All right, guys, that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up here. We thank all you guys for watching. Like I said before, I say it every time. Like, subscribe if you like what we're doing and want to see more. We appreciate all you guys. We appreciate you guys being on the show today.
Appreciate y'all as well.
Okay,
right.
Well, that's going to wrap it up. And, we got continuous improvements going on in here. Dan's doing a good job. So we'll see you guys next Saturday.